All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jenna Wood, and I am one of the dietitians here with the Giant Company. If you're new to our classes, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thursdays, we have our trending topics class where we sometimes divulge a little bit from the more traditional, super balanced meal or nutrition topic and talk about something that is a trending often a food holiday, which we always love talking about food holidays. It gives us an automatic theme. Well, s'mores is certainly that. And yes, Sunday, August 10th, I believe, is National S'mores Day here in the States. So I love s'mores. So when this came up as a potential topic, I knew it was one I wanted to do. So let us dive in to s'mores. Okay, just another pretty picture I found, so I threw that one in there as well. So, what are s'mores? And I do believe I actually made some polls. So, let me launch the one poll first. So, do you like s'mores? So, one person in Q&A said they don't, which is fine. I don't like a lot of foods most people do. So, certainly no shade here. But do you like them? Yes, no, or you've never had a s'more. And that was my grandmother up until like a few years ago. She had never had one. So I made one for her because as you can probably tell, I love them. So I'm going to end and share. 74% of us on the class today enjoy them, which is great. 21% don't. Perfectly fine. They can be super sweet. And 7 people have never tried them. So hopefully, if you like the flavors and the foods in them, you might be encouraged to give them a try. So let us keep going. So, what about s'mores? So, s'more, as you can imagine, is a contraction, which means some more, which, if you've ever eaten a s'more, especially when you're making them around the campfire, one often does not feel like enough, and you could easily go for some more. Back in the day, so I'll talk a little bit about the history, but it wasn't always just called a s'more. That was more of a colloquial term that came to be after kids, especially, were enjoying them. But they are also known as a campfire graham cracker sandwich, which is a mouthful. So s'mores definitely shortens that. The traditional s'more that you'll see is typically 2 graham crackers. Often, if you have a graham cracker, it's that long piece, so it's cut in half, one marshmallow, and one square of chocolate, which we talked about PA local foods last week. Very traditionally, even when it wasn't popular in this area yet, it was almost always a Hershey bar. So, another kind of local food that has worldwide success. Now, it became popular, as you can imagine, among scout troops and just camping in general. However, it really was Girl Scouts, and I was a Girl Scout, not for a super long time, but I was. uh, it was popular during their trips, especially during the summer. The first instance of s'mores being written about was back in 1925, which is crazy. 100 years ago, almost, we were talking about s'mores in the Norwalk Hour. So in Connecticut, there was a little article about a local Girl Scout summer camp and what they were enjoying over the campfire, and they talked about a s'more. And then it didn't take very long for that to spread, and either people were also already doing it. But then there was a 1927 book called Tramping and Trailing with the Girl Scouts. And so that had it. There was also a Betty Crocker book that had it a little bit later. So it's definitely something that became popular quite quickly because they're delicious. And of course, as we are dietitians, we like to talk about nutrition and health, but s'mores really are more than just the food itself, than the ingredients they are memories. And for me, I mean, I love regular s'mores anyway, but I will share a very quick anecdote. S'mores, so there's a lot of foods that have s'mores flavors, and I have a slide about some new, options, but there have been s'mores flavored Pop-Tarts for a very long time. And the day my sister was born, we were being watched by my grandfather, who was very, very sick, well enough to make sure the 3 of us were alive. And we had s'mores Pop Tarts for dinner that night. So whenever I think of my sister's birthday, I always think of s'mores Pop Tarts, my favorite flavor, and just again, memories, because that's what food is also about. Now, S'mores, we said traditionally, you got the graham crackers, you have the marshmallow, you have the chocolate. It's quite simple, but it doesn't have to be. When I first started here at the Giant Company, like almost 3 years ago, I made a social video about s'mores and how you can make them really whatever you want them to be. Typically, again, with some type of cracker or cookie, and marshmallow often is still included, but the chocolate can be very different and you can add whatever you like. So this is a very detailed chart, but I'll kind of go through some ideas of maybe you don't like one of the ingredients, you could swap it out. So the cracker or cookie, again, obviously a graham cracker is going to be the most traditional. We do carry, and I'm going to show you what I made today, plenty of gluten-free, vegan options for these. Graham crackers tend to be vegan anyway, but definitely we have some really good gluten-free options. You can kind of do a reverse and do chocolate as the graham cracker. We have chocolate graham crackers that are delicious. A Ritz cracker. So I saw a lot of options about having like a salty twist. So using a Ritz cracker or a pretzel thin, rice cakes, which I'll show you a product today, cookie thins or cookies. I think on our savory website we have a cookie type s'mores and stroop waffles. If you're not familiar, they're kind of a thin waffle-like consistency filled with caramel. Very delicious. Chocolate, of course, milk chocolate's very standard. White chocolate, dark chocolate, also great. If you like Reese's peanut butter cups, I've seen those. Kit Kats, other filled varieties, cookies and cream bars. Really, any type of chocolate will work. Marshmallow, of course, you could use regular, flavored, stuffed, which have become quite popular in the last few years. Fluff, so that's just like a marshmallow cream, which is kind of a liquidy consistency, spreadable consistency if you don't want to deal with a full marshmallow. Cool Whip, which I'm going to show, and ice cream. You can make like an ice cream style sandwich. Spreads, and I've done a lot of these, like a chocolate hazelnut spread if you're familiar with Nutella, but we have our own Giant brand as well. Nut and seed butters. I think we have an almond butter s'mores recipe on Savory, which looks amazing. Chocolate hummus. So we know our team loves chocolate hummus. That's a great option on there too. Cookie butter, fruit jam. I've put lemon curd. So no chocolate, but I did lemon curd with the marshmallow and the graham cracker. That was a great combo. Tahini. And then in miscellaneous, sliced apples. I did sliced green apples with, I want to say, the Stroop waffle, something else. And that was such a good combination too. Strawberries are fantastic with even just a regular s'more. The combination is great. Peaches, I have a recipe with peaches and raspberries. So very, a lot of variety and variations you can try. In terms of product inspiration, these are just a handful of the s'mores flavored foods we have. Again, not all of them are going to be the most nutritious food in the world, but there are some options for different diets and just for fun. I really loved this Oikos s'mores. I ate it this morning and forgot to save the cup, but these are really nice. It's their remix. So if you still enjoy having like the cup you flip in, it has 11 grams of protein. It does still have a little bit of added sugar, but nothing crazy. I love that. If you're craving something sweet, that is a great option for a go-to. Plenty of different protein bars that are s'mores flavors. I think the Chobani S'mores Creamer is seasonal, so hopefully that'll be back as we get closer to the fall, but I loved that one. La Colombe, so we talked about them being a Philly local brand. We couldn't find it in our stores, but it was on the Camp Hill website page, so hopefully, again, maybe a seasonal product. For our dairy-free friends, I absolutely love these So Delicious S'mores ice cream bars. They're 100 calories. They're small, but for me, they hit the spot. They're like a perfect serving size and the flavor. Honestly, all their flavors are amazing, but the s'mores is my favorite. Kodiak has great chewy granola bars that are s'mores. We also have a brand, and I believe, Nature Valley or another one has a great s'mores option too. And they do have the Power Cup, like flapjack s'more cups. I think Shayna tried them in a class we taught a while back. Also delicious. And then we have our own toasted s'mores ice cream, which we talked about ice cream a couple weeks ago. And then two other products I did actually grab. So we do have the Taste of Inspiration, which is one of our brands. This is a s'mores granola. So, do a Greek yogurt with a little bit of the s'mores granola. Delicious. So that's something I will be doing. I just ate a couple pieces of it to try. It's delicious. And then this one, I was out in at an event in the city yesterday, and I had two ladies come up to my table and they're like, "Have you ever tried the Drizzlicious s'mores?" Not knowing I was teaching a class about s'mores today. So I picked up one, and these are so, so good too. When I opened the bag, I'm not gonna lie, they looked a little sad. They're just like these teeny little rice cakes with a drizzle of chocolate. They taste amazing. So this was a great thing. If you like to eat a volume of a sweet food for, not a lot of calories or sugar, for 28 pieces, so 28 is quite a lot of them. It's 120 calories and only 5 grams of added sugar. So if you eat fewer than 28, it's going to be a lot less than that too. So I think these are quite good. So, and they have a bunch of different flavors, but of course, today we're talking about s'mores. So again, tons of different s'mores flavored foods, some on the more nutritious side, some just for fun, like we like to share. In terms of beyond the campfire, so maybe you aren't going to roast up some marshmallows, and that is okay. There are ways to roast marshmallows not outside. I've done them in the air fryer, in the microwave, which isn't really roasted, but like it melts. If you have a gas stove, I don't recommend it. It's not safe, but I have done it before. So plenty of options to, do that. The air fryer is definitely one of the easiest ways. But there are other recipes that have s'mores flavors just like those foods that give you the same feeling. So a s'mores parfait, you certainly can do that pre-made, yogurt cup, which is my go-to because it's so easy and delicious and has 11 grams of protein. But this one, you can make your own s'mores parfait with a plain or a vanilla yogurt. I tend to buy our plain non-fat Greek yogurt and just add a little vanilla extract to make it vanilla without adding a ton of sugar. Chocolate chips, so whatever type of chocolate chips you like. I really like our dark semi-sweet. I just think they have a nice combination of flavor. Mini marshmallows, and then you can crush up some, a square of the graham crackers to make just a really balanced. You got the protein, which is going to help balance all that sugar that you're consuming, or you can use our granola. So again, you don't have to do all of the ingredients if you just want to do the granola, which is quite good. Stuffed dates. So I linked, this was a TikTok recipe I saw. You can take some dates if you love dates, which have become, people have been eating dates for thousands of years, but they've kind of become popular recently. And you can take a date, stuff it with either a mini marshmallow or the fluff and a chocolate chip. The recipe pops them in the air fryer for a couple seconds to just warm them through. Top them with some crushed graham crackers. They look delicious. Dates are high in sugar. Of course, they also have a little fiber and they are a fruit, but it is still a sweet treat. S'mores overnight oats. So another way to enjoy those flavors. You can take rolled oats. I don't have like a recipe for this, but just if you already make overnight oats, you can try this flavor. Regular or chocolate milk. So again, adding that chocolatey flavor. You can mix in cocoa powder or you can mix in chocolate chips too. I'm not a big chocolate heavy person for like that flavor. I would probably do plain overnight oats and then mix in the chocolate chips, the graham cracker, and mini marshmallows when you're serving it. And then a dry trail mix, snack mix, which would also be perfect for camping. Things like mini graham or other plain cereal. There are like honey graham cereal, I want to say. You could do Cheerios or just any plain cereal. Mini marshmallows, dark chocolate chips, again, the same type of ingredients, and then just make them in a bunch of different ways. We do have a lot of recipe inspiration on our Savory website. Just a bunch of different varieties too. The s'mores candy apple slices look really great, just for a fall treat. I think they'd be fun around like Halloween too. Vegan mini s'mores, so we have a lot of vegan options and recipes there. Whole grain cereal s'mores treats. I believe Shayna might have made this in one of the classes last month. They're really fun, so like a Rice Krispie treat with a whole grain cereal with all those flavors mixed in as well. I thought this sounded so, so delicious. The raspberry s'more cones. So taking like an ice cream cone and stuffing it with the marshmallows, the dark chocolate chips, and some fresh raspberries. That one looks like those are all the flavors I really love. Then we have the Ghirardelli milk chocolate caramel peach s'mores. Very long name. Basically a graham cracker, a slice of a fresh peach, a marshmallow, and then their Ghirardelli, it has a little bit of caramel in the chocolate square. So that can be a fun way to, have people do a different type of chocolate that they enjoy. And then this is super different, but Tazo makes a chai concentrate and they have a sippable s'mores recipe. So it's a little chai concentrate with some chocolate and marshmallow. That one sounds so delicious. Again, super sweet, but just another way to enjoy the flavors. For me today, before we get into, we are going to talk about the circular today too, because we don't have coffee chat tomorrow. But I do want to show you this. And this is what I'm going to kind of put together. And I did already pre-make some because they're frozen. But this has been quite the trend on TikTok and other social media platforms recently, is to make frozen protein s'mores. Now, I will say you do not have to add protein to everything, but if you're looking to have a sweet treat and maybe have it balance your blood sugar a little bit better than something that's super, super high in sugar and nothing else, having a protein source in there can be helpful, but it's not necessary. So, for the frozen protein s'mores, there's a couple different ways to make them. And I've tried a couple different ones, and I think I've landed on the way I think is best. The recommendation is to defrost some Cool Whip. I'm going to grab mine because it is in the fridge. Almost dropped it. Okay. So you will defrost some Cool Whip. I have two different varieties I will show. So this is the So Delicious. So again, a dairy-free option that you can do. And I do have just our original Cool Whip topping giant brand. So you're going to take that, and there's an option. You can either keep it frozen, use it the way you want to, or you can mix in some protein powder to just add a little bit of protein. If you want to keep them completely dairy-free vegan, you're going to do a dairy-free vegan protein powder. We do sell a giant Nature's Promise brand. But I really love, if you are not dairy-free, we have our vanilla Nature's Promise whey. This is delicious. So I took 2 scoops of the vanilla protein powder. Now, I recommend mixing 1 scoop at a time because it kind of gets everywhere. But, oh, yes. So I mixed in the 2 scoops right into there. And then you're just going to kind of assemble the cookie. Some options. So you can either do just a regular graham cracker, or I did the Partake gluten-free vegan because I wanted to try them. We all know what a regular graham cracker is like, but I wanted to taste test some other brands and options to give you my honest opinion. These are delicious. A little crumbly, but delicious. So I used these, uh, filled the cookie sandwich with a little bit of the filling, and then dipped them in some melted dark chocolate. Popped them back in the freezer, and then you enjoy them frozen. Optionally, you don't have to add any protein powder. And what you could also do, Char, which is another really great gluten-free brand, they're individually wrapped, which is so nice. Well, they're individually wrapped in 5, but they are a graham cracker, gluten-free graham cracker, and the other side is dark chocolate. So you can skip that melting the chocolate step and just fill this with the Cool Whip filling and make a sandwich that way. So lots of different easy ways to make these. Each of these and the products I showed on one of the last slides, they are all clickable links that go to the giant page, but you can at least see the product because I want you to enjoy s'mores as much as possible too. So I'm going to stop sharing really quickly and just kind of show you what I mean by all this. So this is the little honey grams. Let me show you. This is what they look like. 3 on-the-go packs. So again, they're a little gluten-free cookie cracker with chocolate on the side. So what I did was I kind of just took 2. Honestly, I ate 1, so I know it seems like a lot, but 1 was definitely more than enough to kind of satisfy any sweet craving. For me, eat it slow, like we recommend. Always, eating your food mindfully. Uh, let's see. So when you want to spread them, you don't want it to be completely defrosted. So if you're going to mix in that protein powder, I do recommend popping it back in the freezer for 20, 30 minutes to just make sure it's not completely softened, because when it is, it's very hard to hold, keep its structure, and then dip it in the chocolate if you're doing that. So this is the cookie. This is the Cocoa Whip, which is delicious if you're looking for a dairy-free whipped cream or Cool Whip. So it's almost like an ice cream sandwich, honestly. And then we're gonna smush it together. Looks so good. Okay, I'm gonna put it down. So you can also see the other ones I made. This is with the partake cookie. I filled it with the ice cream and then I did melt some dark chocolate and put that on top. I kind of drizzled it more than dipped it. Dipping would be kind of hard. And this is why I recommend letting the Cool Whip mixture freeze a little bit after mixing in the protein powder because it got a little flat, which is okay. It's still going to taste amazing. But I am going to move this aside. But yeah, super easy to mix in the protein powder if you like to. One scoop, you're barely going to notice it. Two scoops, honestly, I still barely noticed it. It did have a slight gritty texture, which you're not going to fully notice when you bite into the cookie, but also graham crackers kind of have that gritty-ish texture too. So I think it kind of goes with it. Again, the protein is completely optional, but a little bit of extra protein does help kind of stabilize some blood sugar. So, and if you have it already on hand, or if you have other flavored protein powders, really any flavor would work. Chocolate, peppermint, whatever you got. I got lots of different flavors. Okay, well, that is all I have for s'mores, but do stick around so we can look at the circular. But I hope you enjoyed learning about s'mores with me because they're one of my favorite sweet treats.